Imagine driving like 70 miles an hour down the highway.
Oh, just cruising along.
Yeah, exactly. You have a full tank of gas, the weather is totally clear, and you know exactly where you want to go.
Right, you've got the whole plan.
You're making incredible time. But suddenly, the person sitting in passenger seat just reaches over and yanks the emergency brake.
Oh, wow. That is terrifying.
Right. You hear that jarring, screeching halt. The car swerves, your heart jumps into your throat, and you're just thrown completely off balance.
Yeah, totally derailed.
That jarring halt, that sudden friction, just when you were building momentum. That is exactly the energy hitting you this week. Welcome back to Horoscope TV.
We're so glad you're here with us.
If you are a Virgo, or if you have a special Virgo in your life, you are in exactly the right place today. We're looking really closely at the astrological charts for Virgo, covering the week of April 27 to May 3, 2026.
And this is not a week to ignore.
No, not at all. You really need to tune in and pay attention today because this specific week brings like massive, highly important shifts to your daily habits, your personal beliefs, and even your career.
Huge changes.
You're going to map out exactly how to handle these big changes so you can, come out on top.
It is so wonderful to be here with you today, and I have to say, that analogy of the car is just spot on.
Thank you. I mean, it really feels that dramatic.
It does. When I look at the astro data for this week, it is incredibly active for you.
Like not a boring week.
Oh, definitely not. This is not a quiet, sleepy week where you just float along and nothing changes. This is a week of breaking old patterns that just no longer work for you.
Right. Out with the old.
Exactly. And
Okay.
building solid wealth and long-lasting love.
Wow. Wealth and love. That's the dream.
It really is. The planets are lining up to give you a major push forward, but as you mentioned with that emergency brake, that push is not always going to feel entirely comfortable.
Yeah, growth usually isn't.
Right. It requires you to make active choices.
Well, I love the sound of breaking old patterns and building wealth, even if it comes with, a few bumps in the road.
For sure.
And I know that as a Virgo, you, the listener, probably want to know the exact itinerary for this trip.
Oh, Virgos need the map. They absolutely need the map.
Exactly. You want the map. So we're going to trace the path of your week chronologically. We are looking at everything from your money to your love life to your physical health.
All the major sectors.
Right. Let's start by looking at how this week actually kicks off. The period starts around April 27, but the real fireworks, the baseline for all the emotional events to come, they really take shape on April 28th.
Yes, the 28th is massive.
It feels like there's a strong push to fix what is fundamentally broken in your daily life and your career right out of the gate. So what exactly is happening in the sky on April 28 to cause this?
Well, on April 28th, we have a very specific shift. The moon enters Libra.
Okay, the moon in Libra.
Right. Now, to understand why this matters, we have to look at what the moon actually does in astrological charts.
Because it moves pretty fast, right?
Exactly. It moves very quickly. It changes signs every couple of days. And because it's so close to Earth, it rules our emotions, our daily moods, our comforts, and our immediate reactions.
So it's very day to day.
Highly day-to-day. When the moon moves into the sign of Libra, the whole emotional atmosphere changes completely.
How so?
Well, Libra is an air sign that is entirely focused on peace, fairness, and aesthetics. It wants everything to be balanced and pleasant.
Okay, balanced and pleasant. I like that.
Right, but for a Virgo, you already love order. You love neatness. But Virgo order is often about efficiency.
Like, does this machine work fast?
Exactly. Whereas Libra order is about harmony.
Ah, does it feel good?
Exactly. So when this energy hits you, it translates into a very strong urge to create perfect balance in your daily life.
So it's a very internal feeling of wanting things to just be smooth.
Yes. You're going to look at your routines, your home, your workspace, and you will want to fix whatever feels aesthetically or emotionally out of line.
So it's not just about organizing a spreadsheet. It's about making sure the spreadsheet looks nice and doesn't cause you stress to look at.
Perfectly said.
I think of it like cleaning off a very messy desk. You know that feeling when you sit down to do your work?
Yeah.
But there are old coffee cups everywhere.
Oh, the worst.
And stacks of unopened mail and sticky notes just covering your monitor.
It makes you anxious just thinking about it.
Right. You might be able to function, but there's this low-level hum of anxiety. You cannot do truly great work until your space feels calm and organized.
So true.
The moon in Libra is basically handing you a trash can, some cleaning wipes, and maybe a small desk plant. telling you to clear the desk of your life so you can finally breathe.
That is a wonderful way to picture it because the addition of the plant is pure Libra energy.
It has to look pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just sterile, it has to be beautiful and calming. And this need for calm extends directly into your physical well-being, too.
Oh, really? How does that work for Virgo's health?
Well, this is a wonderful time to start a gentle exercise routine. Virgo energy can often run very hot in the nervous system. You tend to overthink and carry a lot of stress.
Yeah, that nervous energy is real.
It is.
Yeah.
But Libra energy is not about, running a marathon until your muscles literally give out.
It's no intense boot camps today.
No boot camps.
Yeah.
It is about stretching, taking a long walk, maybe doing some restorative yoga. It's gentle movement.
That sounds incredibly relaxing.
It is. You will feel a strong need to focus completely on your mental balance. If you have been burning the candle at both ends, April 28th is the day your brain simply says, okay, we need to stop.
Yeah.
And we need to find some quiet.
That makes total sense, because if the nervous system is overloaded, you just can't be productive anyway.
Exactly.
But Virgos are such hard workers. I mean, they're deeply concerned with practicality. So how does this gentle plant on the desk balancing energy hit the wealth and work sector?
Right, because bills have to be paid.
Exactly. At some point, you have to stop cleaning the desk and actually do the work.
Well, it hits the wealth sector in a very literal, practical way. You will feel a very strong desire to balance your budget and increase your savings.
Balanced, just like Libra.
Exactly. Remember, the symbol of Libra is the scales. It is the only sign in the zodiac represented by an inanimate object, an instrument of measurement.
Oh, wow. I didn't actually realize it was the only object.
Yeah, it's very focused on exact fairness. So you will want your bank account to balance perfectly on those scales. You want to know exactly what is coming in and what is going out.
No mysteries in the checking account.
Exactly. You want the ledger to be perfectly fair. At work, because Libra is also a highly social sign, you will absolutely excel at teamwork on this day.
Oh, that's great for office dynamics.
It really is. You will want to create a peaceful work environment. If there's office drama going on between two of your coworkers, you are the one who will naturally step in, act as the mediator, and smooth things over.
So everyone can get back to being productive.
Precisely. You make the peace so the work can happen.
Okay, so we have this very lovely, cooperative, peaceful energy setting the stage. But as I look at the astro data you provided for April 28, there is a second major event happening on the exact same day.
Yes, there is.
And this one doesn't look gentle at all. Venus is forming a trine with Pluto.
It is a very different vibe.
Yeah, can you analyze what a trine is and why these two specific planets interacting is such a big deal?
Absolutely. So in the charts, a trine is an angle of 120 degrees between two planets. It is considered a highly positive flowing angle.
It's a good thing.
A very good thing. It means the two planets are in signs of the same element, so they are working together smoothly, sharing their energy without any resistance.
Oh, nice.
It's like two musicians playing perfectly in key with one another. Now, the planets involved here are Venus and Pluto.
Okay, Venus and Pluto.
Venus is the planet of love, money, beauty, and what we deeply value. Pluto is entirely different.
Pluto is intense, right?
Very. Pluto is the planet of deep power, total transformation, the underworld, and hidden wealth. It is an intense, tearing down to rebuild kind of energy.
Wow. So when they work together...
When Venus and Pluto form a trine, it brings highly powerful, highly positive changes, especially to your long-term career goals and your financial standing.
I have to admit, I see a bit of a contradiction here.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, if we trace the logic, we have Libra energy, which is actually ruled by Venus, right?
Yes, it is.
So that's making us want peace, balance, teamwork, and soft exercise. But then we have Pluto energy involved, which is so intense.
It is very intense.
It's about power, deep transformation, and taking control. How does a Virgo listener handle wanting a peaceful, cooperative workday while also trying to totally transform their career and demand their worth on the exact same day?
It sounds impossible, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is it even possible to hold both of those things at once?
You are analyzing that perfectly because on the surface they do seem like total opposites. But the way a Virgo blends these two energies is by using calm methods to achieve intense results.
Calm methods, intense results. I like that.
Right. You do not have to yell to show your power. Think of it like water slowly carving through solid rock.
Oh, that's a great image.
The water is gentle, it flows smoothly, that's the Venus and Libra energy, but the result over time is a massive, deep canyon.
And that's the Pluto energy.
Exactly. For example, let's say you realize you need to ask for a raise. You don't storm into your boss's office, bang your fists on the table, and make demands.
That would be very un-Virgo anyway.
Right. Instead, you use your Venusian charm. You set up a meeting. You present a beautifully balanced, logically sound spreadsheet of your accomplishments.
Oh, the boss would love a good spreadsheet.
They really would. You speak calmly, fairly, and professionally. That is the gentle method.
So what's the result?
The result, getting the money, securing your power, permanently changing your career path, that is the intense Pluto result. You have this incredible, almost magnetic ability to impress authority figures on April 28. Your managers will look at you and see someone who is remarkably powerful, yet entirely composed.
I love that visual. Water carving a canyon, calm methods, intense results, speaking softly but holding all the cards.
That's exactly what it is.
If this is happening in the career sector, I imagine, because Venus is involved, this magnetic power completely spills over into the romance sector as well.
Oh, it absolutely does.
What does a Venus-Pluto trine do to a Virgo's love life?
It completely changes the temperature of your romantic life. If you are single, you have the ability to attract a highly powerful partner.
Powerful like a CEO, or powerful emotionally?
Both, honestly. Pluto does not do shallow, so right now you are not looking for a casual date or just like polite small talk over coffee.
No small talk.
None. You are seeking a connection that goes far beneath the surface. You want someone who understands the darker, more complex parts of your soul. You want a power couple dynamic.
That is intense. And what if you're already in a relationship?
If you are already in a relationship, this energy helps you and your partner bond on a much deeper, more intense level. It is a day to strip away the superficial arguments and look at the core truth of why you value each other.
And what about health? You mentioned earlier that the Libra moon wants soft exercise, but Pluto is all about total transformation.
Yeah.
Does this mean a Virgo is finally able to, like, kick a bad habit?
Yes. Health-wise, this combination gives you incredible inner strength.
Oh, that's great news.
It is. Pluto rules the regenerative systems of the body, and Venus rules our indulgences. So when they are working together in a flowing trine, it's the perfect energy to permanently break bad health habits and totally transform your physical body.
So if I'm struggling with something specific.
Yeah, if you've been trying to quit eating sugar or trying to stop staying up too late scrolling on your phone, the willpower you have on April 28 is just off the charts.
That's amazing.
You can use that gentle Libra energy to slowly introduce a new habit, but the Pluto energy ensures that the change is permanent and profound.
Okay, so that is incredibly productive Tuesday.
Very productive.
You've cleaned your desk, you've peacefully demanded a raise, you have bonded deeply with a partner, and you've thrown out all the junk food.
You're doing it all.
You have your foot on the gas. Which brings us perfectly back to our opening analogy as we roll into April 29.
Ah, yes. The 29.
The theme here is the friction of growth. Just as you get everything organized, just as you set your goals and feel your power, the universe throws a massive test your way.
It really does.
The passenger yanks the emergency brake. What exactly is happening in the sky on April 29 to cause this sudden halt?
Well, on April 29, the astro data shows that Venus squares the true node retrograde. And this is exactly where that friction comes from.
A square. We talked about a trine being a flowing angle. A square sounds much sharper.
It is.
How does it function?
A square is an angle of 90 degrees between 2 points in the astrological charts. If a trine is 2 musicians playing in harmony, a square is 2 cars arriving at an intersection at the exact same time, and neither one wants to yield.
Oh, so they crash.
Exactly. It represents conflicting modalities. It forces a crisis of action because the energy cannot flow smoothly. It crashes.
So what are the 2 cars in this scenario?
The 2 points involved are Venus, which, as we said, represents your relationships, your comforts, and your money. And the other is the true node.
The true node, what is that?
The true node is not a planet. It is a mathematical point in the sky that represents your destiny, your future path, and the uncomfortable growth you're supposed to achieve in this lifetime.
Uncomfortable growth. That sounds tough.
It is. And because it is in retrograde motion, it is pulling you very strongly toward your karmic path. So when Venus squares the true node, your desire for comfort and your old relationship habits are crashing directly into your need to evolve and move forward.
Oh, wow.
You might feel completely stuck between your old life and a brand new life path.
So you want to move forward. You proved yesterday that you are ready for a transformation. But something from your past or something in your immediate comfort zone is physically or emotionally pulling you back. Let's look at how this actually shows up in real life for a Virgo. How does this tension manifest in love and work?
Let's look at romance first. In romance, you might face unexpected tension if your partner refuses to support your personal growth.
Oh, that's hard.
Let's go back to our timeline. Let's say yesterday, with that Pluto energy, you had a deep realization. You decided to completely change your career track, or you decided to dedicate yourself to a strict new health regimen.
You're evolving.
You are evolving. But today, on the 29th, your partner might suddenly react with fear.
Fear. Why fear?
They might say, but I liked the way things were. We used to eat junk food together on the couch. This new plan of yours is too disruptive to our routine.
Oh, I see. They want the old you.
Exactly. They want the old you, the comfortable you, but you are moving toward the new you. That is the passenger pulling the emergency brake.
They are terrified of how fast you're driving toward your future.
Yes, and their reaction is to try and stop the car entirely.
That is incredibly frustrating, especially for a Virgo who has finally figured out a plan.
Highly frustrating.
And I imagine this doesn't just happen at home. At work, does this show up as people resisting your new ideas?
Exactly. At work, it shows up as difficult coworkers or systemic pushback. Maybe yesterday you mapped out a new, highly efficient system for your department.
A great system, probably.
Of course. But today, your coworkers might actively resist it. They might keep interrupting you or refuse to learn the new software, trying to distract you from your main tasks because they prefer the old, comfortable, lazy way of doing things.
Ugh, the lazy way.
Right. The Venus square true node transit means the people around you are acting as anchors and not the good kind that keep you safe, the kind that drag you down when you are trying to sail.
And because Venus also rules money, I'm guessing there is a massive financial warning here. If people are pulling on you emotionally and professionally, are they also pulling on your wallet?
That is a very astute connection. Yes, the charts issue a big warning for this day regarding money.
What kind of warning?
Because of this tension between your resources and your future, you must carefully avoid making risky investments.
So no day trading.
None. Do not put your money into anything unproven today, because your judgment regarding what is valuable might be clouded by a desire for a quick fix to the tension.
That makes sense.
And more importantly, definitely do not loan money to unreliable people.
Oh, friends asking for cash.
Exactly. The people pulling your emergency brake might also be asking you to fund their mistakes. A friend might come to you with a crisis that is entirely their own fault, asking for a bailout. You have to say no.
But Virgos are naturally helpful. I mean, they're the sign of service. Saying no is incredibly hard for them.
It is their biggest struggle.
So what does a Virgo do? Do they just sit in the car on the side of the highway and argue with the passenger? Do they give in just to keep the peace?
Let's analyze why this is happening. The universe doesn't just give you tension for the sake of making you miserable. The charts are forcing you to set boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
Yes. This day is a test of your resolve. You have to decide what stays in your new life and what gets left behind.
That sounds like a tough decision.
It is. If a habit, a coworker, or even a romantic relationship cannot adapt to the new, healthier, wealthier version of you, then you have to recognize that friction for what it is. You cannot drag dead weight into your future.
You cannot set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm.
Exactly. The purpose of the square is to make you uncomfortable enough to finally draw a hard line in the sand.
Wow, that is powerful. You have to decide who gets to stay in the car. If they won't let you drive, they have to get out.
They have to go.
And that leads us perfectly into the next major shift in the week, because you cannot ride the brake forever. Eventually, the friction gets too hot, the tension builds too high, and something has to snap.
Oh, it snapped.
And looking at the sky on May 1st, that breaking point aligns perfectly with a massive celestial event. We are calling this the climax of truth and healing. All that tension from April 29 builds up and finally pops, leading to a massive release of honesty, some necessary endings, and ultimately, deep healing.
It really is the most pivotal day of the week. May 1 brings 3 distinct planetary movements, and the first one is the catalyst for everything else.
Okay, what is it?
We have a full moon in the sign of Scorpio.
A full moon. That always feels like things are bubbling over. The tides are high, emotions are high, and Scorpio is notorious for being a very intense, uncompromising sign.
Extremely uncompromising.
Can you break down why this specific full moon is so explosive for a Virgo?
Of course. A full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other in the sky. It represents culmination, completion, and illumination.
So everything is brought to light.
Exactly. The light of the sun is fully reflecting off the moon, meaning nothing can be hidden in the dark. Now add the energy of Scorpio.
Right, the Scorpio factor.
Scorpio is a fixed water sign. If Libra is a gentle stream, Scorpio is the deep, dark, crushing pressure of the ocean floor.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
Scorpio wants the absolute truth, no matter how ugly or uncomfortable it is. It burns away superficiality. For Virgo, this specific full moon highlights your communication sector.
Communication. So words, talking, emails.
Yes. This means hidden truths, the things you have been too polite to say, are coming out into the open. You cannot keep a secret under a Scorpio full moon, and you absolutely cannot tolerate anyone else keeping secrets from you.
So if that partner or that coworker was pulling the emergency brake back on the 29th and you tried to be polite about it,
You're not being polite anymore.
May 1 is the day you finally turn to them and say exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
No holding back. The filter is completely gone.
Exactly. The filter is entirely gone. In love, expect highly intense and completely honest conversations. It is a time for total transparency.
So if there's resentment,
If there's been resentment building because you feel you are doing all the work while your partner coasts, that truth is coming out today. You will lay all your cards on the table.
that could be really rocky.
It can be. And it applies to work and money, too. This full moon might bring a sudden, definitive end to a confusing work project. You know those projects that drag on forever?
Where no one knows who is actually in charge.
Yes. The goals keep changing, and it is just a massive drain on your resources.
Oh, Virgos despise those. Anything inefficient is a complete nightmare for a Virgo.
Yes, they really do. Well, under this full moon, the utter truth of the project is revealed. Maybe someone finally admits the budget is gone, or management realizes the strategy is flawed.
So it just dies.
The project might just end abruptly. And while that might feel shocking in the moment, it will finally allow you to move forward and focus on things that actually work.
That's actually a relief.
Financially, this Scorpio energy forces you to face the absolute truth about your spending habits. If you have been ignoring your credit card statements, afraid to look at the total,
I think we've all been there.
right, but this is the day you have to pull them up. You have to look at the numbers, face the reality of your debt or your frivolous spending, and cut out unnecessary expenses. No more excuses. Scorpio demands accountability.
But dealing with all this truth, having these intense, relationship-defining conversations, facing your budget, watching projects collapse, I mean, that sounds incredibly exhausting.
It is draining.
Even if it's good for you in the long run, the physical toll of that day must be heavy.
It is. I must issue a strong health warning based on this intense Scorpio energy. It might cause severe mental exhaustion for a Virgo.
Because their brains are always on.
Exactly. You are a sign that processes information constantly. When you are hit with a massive wave of emotional truth all at once, your mental circuits can overload.
So what should they do?
You must take a break from overthinking. Once the conversation is over, once the budget is balanced, you have to actively choose to let it go. You need to get plenty of deep rest. Do not lie in bed replaying the conversations in your head.
That is easier said than done for a Virgo, but I see why it is necessary. Luckily, there is a second astro event happening on May 1st that seems to offer a remedy for all this rawness.
Yes, there is a healing element.
Mercury conjuncts Chiron. How does this help soothe the burn of the full moon?
This is a very gentle, profoundly healing transit. Let's analyze the players. Mercury is the planet of communication, intellect, and processing.
And it rules Virgo.
Yeah, exactly. It is Virgo's ruling planet, meaning whatever Mercury does, you feel it on a very deep cellular level. Chiron, on the other hand, is a comet known in astrology as the wounded healer.
The wounded healer. That sounds poetic.
It represents our deepest insecurities, but also the wisdom we gain from surviving those wounds. When Mercury and Chiron conjunct, meaning they meet at the exact same degree in the sky, blending their energies completely, it means you can gently heal deep emotional wounds simply by the act of speaking your exact truth.
I want to make sure I'm visualizing this correctly. Is this like ripping off a Band-Aid?
How do you mean?
Like, the Scorpio full moon exposes the wound, it rips the Band-Aid off, and it stings terribly for a second. You see the truth of the relationship or the finances. But then Mercury meeting Chiron is the medicine that you apply directly to the skin to actually heal it.
That is the perfect analogy. The Scorpio full moon provides the diagnosis, and Mercury conjunct Chiron provides the cure.
So talking is the cure.
The emotional process is exactly that. The truth might sting initially, but the act of verbalizing it, of putting words to your pain or your boundaries, is what cures you. And this has incredibly practical benefits too.
What?
At work, this energy helps you overcome the fear of public speaking or sharing your brilliant ideas. If you have been afraid to speak up in meetings because you fear criticism, which is a classic Chiron wound, this energy gives you the healing courage to raise your hand and speak.
And what about the physical body? You mentioned mental exhaustion earlier. Does speaking the truth help with the physical symptoms of stress? Because I know for Virgos, the mind-body connection is just undeniable.
It is entirely undeniable. In medical astrology, Virgo rules the digestive system and the nervous
Oh,
system.
that makes so much sense.
Your body physically processes life the same way your mind does. So physically, this transit offers a great opportunity to heal hidden emotional stress that has been hurting your digestion.
So literally stomach aches from stress.
Yes. If you are holding in a secret or biting your tongue to keep the peace, your stomach is likely in knots. Unsaid words turn into stomach acid for a Virgo.
Wow.
When you finally say the truth out loud, when you speak your piece, your physical body literally relaxes. Your digestion improves. Speaking your truth helps your body process life better.
That is fascinating. The words you hold back actually make you sick. Okay, so we have survived the full moon, we have spoken our healing truth, and as the dust settles on May 7th, there is a third event,
Yes, the final piece of the day.
Venus sextile Saturn. This sounds like the reward at the end of the gauntlet.
It is a beautiful reward. A sextile is an angle of 60 degrees. It is an angle of opportunity. It doesn't fall into your lap like a trine. You have to work for it.
But they've already done the work.
Exactly. Because you just did the hard work of the full moon, the opportunity is waiting for you. Venus is love, values, and money. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, time, and boundaries.
So Saturn likes rules.
Saturn is the architect of the zodiac. So this transit provides a beautiful chance to make a long-lasting, deeply loyal, romantic commitment.
Oh, that's lovely.
After the honest conversations of the full moon, if your relationship survives the truth, it doesn't just go back to normal, it levels up. It becomes incredibly strong, built on a foundation of reality, not fantasy. It cements your bond.
And financially, since Saturn loves discipline.
Exactly. It rewards you for your past financial discipline. If you faced your credit card statement and made a strict budget, Saturn takes that discipline and helps you build solid long-term wealth.
So it's not a get-rich-quick thing.
No, it turns your savings into an empire over time. It is the perfect energy for making sensible investments that will grow slowly and securely.
So all that hard work, all that honesty, it really pays off. It builds a foundation, which transitions us beautifully into the end of the week.
Yes, the week finally calms down.
After the emotional exhaustion, the necessary endings, and the deep healing of May 4th, we arrive at May 3. And looking at the charts, the energy shifts completely. It brings a comforting, steady vibe that allows you to plant your feet firmly on the ground. The storm has passed.
It has. On May 3, Mercury enters the sign of Taurus.
Mercury, Virgo's ruling planet again. It is moving out of the fiery, impulsive sign of Aries and into Taurus. Why is this specific move so good for a Virgo's mindset?
Taurus is an earth sign, just like Virgo.
Ah, they're in the same family.
Exactly, they belong to the same elemental family, which means they speak the same fundamental language. When your ruling planet enters a fellow earth sign, you will feel incredibly grounded.
Like a deep sigh of relief.
Exactly. Your mind, which can sometimes be very anxious, fluttery, and overwhelmed by details, finally settles down. The static noise clears. You become highly focused on expanding your practical knowledge.
Practical is Virgo's favorite word.
It is. Your busy mind becomes highly practical, making it a perfect day for long-term business strategy. You are no longer reacting to crises. You are planning for the future with a clear, cool head.
How does that clear, grounded mind help with love and money?
In love, you move completely away from the intense, heavy drama of the Scorpio moon. You find it very easy to plan a stable, beautiful, romantic future together.
Because Taurus likes tangible things, right?
Yes, Taurus rules the tangible physical world. You want to talk about real things. You want to discuss buying a house or planting a garden or setting up a joint savings account. You are making smart, practical choices for long-term financial security, and you are doing it with a sense of calm confidence.
It sounds so peaceful. I have a visual for this.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
If the 29th was the passenger yanking the emergency brake, and the first was you pulling the car over to have it out,
Yes.
then May 3 feels like you have finally driven yourself home. You walk through the front door after a really long, hard week. You take off those heavy work boots, the ones that have been pinching your toes all week, and you step completely barefoot into your own backyard. You feel the soft grass. You feel the solid earth beneath you. The friction is gone. You are safe. You are grounded.
That is exactly the feeling. It is a return to the senses. And to actively enhance that feeling, I strongly recommend spending quiet time outdoors in nature on this day.
Because it's an earth sign day.
Since Taurus and Virgo are both earth signs, being physically present in nature will completely ground your energy and restore your physical vitality. You have worked incredibly hard this week. Your nervous system has been through a marathon.
Go outside.
Go outside, walk in a park, put your hands in the dirt, let the literal earth recharge your batteries.
I love that advice. Go touch grass, literally. Nature is the ultimate reset button. Okay, so we have covered the entire timeline of the week, from the messy desk to the barefoot backyard.
It's quite a journey.
It is. And let's talk about the people around you, because this week is so incredibly focused on communication, setting boundaries, and deciding who gets to stay in the car. It is vital to know who will help you build your future and who will just drag you down. Let's analyze the cosmic companions for the week.
This is crucial information.
Starting with the best possible match for a Virgo right now, Capricorn. Why is Capricorn the perfect partner in crime for this specific week?
Well, broadly speaking, Capricorn is another earth sign, so there's already a natural, intuitive understanding between you.
They get each other.
They do. But if we look at the specific charts for this week, you share a deep ambition and mutual respect. This mutual drive is sparked heavily by that Venus trine Pluto energy we discussed on April 28th.
Oh, the power couple energy.
Exactly. Capricorn inherently understands your drive for power and success. They do not think you're being too intense. They think you are being practical.
They like the ambition.
They love it. You both highly value hard work and tangible results. A Capricorn doesn't just want to talk about dreams over a glass of wine. They want to look at the blueprints and build those dreams with you.
Let's trace how a relationship, either romantic or professional, with a Capricorn evolves over the timeline we just laid out. Let's look at April 30, right before that intense full moon hits. The moon has just entered Scorpio. What happens between a Virgo and a Capricorn then?
When the moon enters Scorpio on April 30, the emotional waters get deep. But for Virgo and Capricorn, your talks become incredibly strategic. You aren't scared of the depth.
So they're planning the empire.
You are plotting your empire together. You are looking at the landscape and deciding where to build. Then on May 1st, during the explosive truth-telling of the full moon, instead of fighting, you actually help each other release hidden fears about success.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Capricorn can secretly be terrified of failure, and Virgo can be paralyzed by the fear of not being perfect. By speaking your truth, you heal that in each other. And then, as the day ends, that Venus sextile Saturn transit perfectly cements your bond with solid loyalty and trust.
Because Saturn is Capricorn's ruler.
Yes. Saturn is Capricorn's ruling planet, so they feel this commitment deeply. They recognize you as an equal.
And by May 3, when Mercury enters Taurus and we are standing barefoot in the backyard.
By May 3, your brilliant earth sign minds align perfectly on money and career. You look at the spreadsheet together, you completely agree on the plan, and you feel entirely secure in the partnership.
That sounds like a total power couple, an unstoppable force. Now let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, the absolute worst match for the week, Sagittarius.
Oh boy.
I have to groan a little bit here because the chaotic energy of Sagittarius just seems so entirely opposed to what Virgo needs right now.
It really is.
While Virgo wants balance, especially with that Libra moon on April 28, Sagittarius just brings loud, unpredictable energy right into your peaceful space.
It is a massive clash of elemental energies. Sagittarius is a fire sign ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. They want to travel, take risks, speak loudly, and avoid being tied down.
Sounds exhausting for a Virgo.
On April 29, when Venus squares the true node and you are feeling that friction between your past and your future, a Sagittarius will make you clearly see the massive differences in your life paths.
What are the specific friction points there? If a Virgo and a Sagittarius are trying to work together, where does the machine break down?
It breaks down at the level of methodology. You, as a Virgo, focus on tiny details. You rely on careful, methodical planning. You want to know step 1, step 2, and step 3 before you begin.
Right. And Sagittarius?
Sagittarius relies on blind luck and grand visions. They just leap off the cliff and assume a net will appear.
Oh, a Virgo would have a heart attack.
To a Virgo, this is not just annoying, it feels dangerous. It drives you crazy because you are usually the one who has to clean up the mess when the net doesn't appear.
And what happens on May 1st? During the Scorpio full moon, when everyone is forced to be honest and deal with deep emotional truth.
The demand for deep emotional honesty might actually make a Sagittarius run away.
Really? They just flee.
They do not like being pinned down to heavy, restrictive emotional conversations. They use humor to deflect. And even worse, when Mercury aligns with Chiron to heal through communication, the notorious Sagittarius bluntness might deeply hurt you.
Oh, because they're too direct.
They lack the filter that Virgo possesses. They might say something careless, something they think is a joke, that feels like a massive insult to your careful plans and your sensitive nervous system.
And by May 3, when Virgo wants to build something real and stable, planting roots in Taurus.
The Sagittarius is already looking for a quick escape. They want the next big adventure, while you want to lay the bricks for your foundation. You're simply moving in opposite directions.
So let me push back a little here. Does this mean Virgos should just ignore every single Sagittarius they know this week? Should they just block their phone numbers, avoid them in the hallway, and refuse to speak to them until May 4th? Is their chaotic energy entirely useless?
I would not say you need to be mean or completely ignore them forever. There is a time and a place for Sagittarius optimism. However, I will analyze the situation this way. For this specific week, you absolutely should protect your peace.
Protect your peace.
You do not have to engage in deep collaborative projects or heavy emotional discussions with them. Keep the conversations light. If they want to drag you into an impromptu, chaotic adventure that ruins your carefully planned budget, simply say no.
Just say no.
Because right now, trying to sync your life with theirs will only bring massive stress and anxiety. Save your serious, building energy for the Capricorns.
Protect your peace. I think that is the perfect motto for handling the friction this week. And to help the listeners protect their peace and navigate the week, let's open up the Virgo Toolkit.
I love this part.
This is a quick wrap-up of the practical elements found in the astrological charts to help guide you on a daily basis. Let's start with your lucky dates. If you have a calendar, circle April 30 and May 1. Why are these middle-of-the-week days so critical?
These are the major turning points of your entire week. The beginning of the week is setup, and the end of the week is recovery.
So the middle is where the action is.
But April 30 is when your mind becomes incredibly strategic, setting the stage for action. And May 1 is the day of deep emotional clearing, brutal honesty, and profound healing. These are the days where you do the heavy lifting that actually changes your life's trajectory.
And what about the color of the week? The charts suggest a specific color to channel the right energy.
The color to wear or surround yourself with this week is navy blue.
I love navy blue. It is so classic, so reliable. But why that specific color for this week's energy?
If we analyze the psychology and the energy of navy blue, it perfectly matches the serious, deeply focused, and loyal energy that a Virgo needs to channel right now.
It's very grounded.
It is a very grounding color, unlike bright reds or chaotic yellows. It commands respect without being overly flashy or aggressive, which perfectly aligns with your career goals and that Venus-Pluto trine we talked about.
It says, take me seriously.
Exactly. Wearing navy blue says, I am a professional, I am trustworthy, I am emotionally secure, and I am in control.
So definitely wear a crisp navy blue blazer when you go in to present that balanced spreadsheet and ask for your raise.
Highly recommended.
And finally, the lucky numbers for Virgo this week. Keep an eye out for 5, 12, 23, 31, 44, and 52. You might see these numbers on a clock when you happen to look up, on a grocery receipt, or they might just pop into your head when you're trying to make a difficult decision. What should a listener do when they see these numbers?
Just pay attention to them. Take a breath.
Like a little signpost.
The charts provide these little numerical signposts to remind you that you are connected to the larger universe and to confirm that you are exactly on the right path, even when there is friction.
Well, this has been an incredible, revealing journey through your week. We have covered the necessity of balancing your messy desk, how to calmly handle the people pulling your emergency brake, the biological importance of speaking the painful truth to heal your stomach aches, and finally, the absolute joy of standing barefoot in your own backyard with someone who shares your long-term goals.
It's a transformative week.
It really is.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on as you go about your days. The charts show you breaking bad health habits, cutting out unnecessary financial expenses, and abruptly ending confusing work projects this week. You are clearing out a massive amount of old baggage.
So much baggage.
So my question for you is, if you clear out all that old, heavy clutter, what completely new, beautiful thing will you finally have room to build in its place?
That is a profoundly wonderful question to carry forward. Empty space is just potential waiting to be filled. Thank you so much for joining us and letting us guide you through the astro data for your week.
Thank you for listening to this episode on Horoscope TV. Be sure to subscribe so you can get notified the moment our next episode is available. See you next time.